All right, guys. All right, guys. So welcome back to another episode of Box Mining. We need to call this Box and Friends because I don't know, we're gonna deliver the top news, always accurate, always informative, always on the ball. All right. So Box and Friends today, we got Jeff Kirdeikis, who is the CEO of Trustswap. He's doing some crazy stuff in the DeFi scene. He's also running one of the biggest social networks, Uptrend. So you guys definitely need to check both of them out. And of course, he has like two of the biggest Facebook groups on there. So like he knows everything that's happening, not just on social media, but also in DeFi and everything. So welcome, Jeff, to this channel again. We need to do this intro again.
For sure, man. Yeah, and as I was saying before, it's the crypto space, especially right now, is moving at such an absolute lightning speed. And my hands are always in 1,001 pots right now, so it's tough to stay on top of everything that's happening. But it's been an incredibly excited ride. And as I was saying earlier, hats off to you for being able to be that voice to kind of aggregate all that information into like a value-packed hour for people. Because as I was mentioning, if I wasn't full-time in crypto, I would find this even full-time in crypto, I find it overwhelming. So I can only imagine what it's like for someone who's just kind of casually checking in on the news. Things are moving so fast in crypto. I think that's what makes things so exciting here. So anyways, yeah, man, I'm super glad to be on here, kind of go back and forth with you a little bit on where we both see the market heading, what trends we're seeing, what we might see heading in the future, and to add value to the people listening in.
Exactly. So we'll do the intro, like basically what's happening with the Bitcoin markets. And then we have DeFi. DeFi went up, it went down. And I really think DeFi has some really strong feet here. So it's going to be leg day for DeFi. We're going to try to figure out what's going to happen, what's the strongest, what's the most value in DeFi. And of course, with Trustswap and everything that's going on there. And then we have altcoins. I think this is like the most requested topic nowadays. Everyone wants to know like what's the best altcoin right now. So we're going to have a talk about altcoins today. So guys, we also have we'll take questions, so we'll look at the chat. Obviously, we've been looking at the chat to figure out our audio is not working. But anyways, so we'll be looking at chat. We'll be talking with you guys and answering some questions as well. This is going to be super informal. It's literally going to be just a cool, chill chat, and I feel like we have some of the best dynamics here on this channel too. So welcome everyone to this channel. And if you guys don't mind, of course, do smash up the like. It's YouTube thing that really does matter apparently. Like, you read on this, it's the best practice for you guys to help smash up those likes, get those things up. Like, let's get this started. So starting off,
first, I see that I potentially have an echo, so I don't know how we can change that. I'm getting a few comments there.
I hear you fine. Weird. Echo. Can you say something?
Yep. Check. Yeah, people did in the comments just kind of message to see if the echo is there. Boom.
Yeah,
we'll find out.
We'll find out. Like on my side, it should be fine. It should be fine. Properties. Yeah, that should be fine. All right. We'll try echo. Jeff has echo, not ego.
Okay. All right. Now I see people are saying no echo here, so we're all good to go. So you worked your tech magic. I think every time we hop on these live streams, something happens. The last time, was it audio again last time? And now again it was audio. And now we get a little echo. We're gonna nail this, man. We're gonna nail it. So anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. Have at her.
Oh my god, that's funny. Someone was like, he said ego. Anyways, okay. So starting off, we got some craziness going on in the market. Bitcoin hasn't been above 16K for more than 2 weeks. So we're entering this special phase now where pushing up yet again, and like every day it seems like we're smashing a new wall. So like it feels so weird. Like when I do these episodes, I feel so weird speaking these numbers still, because throughout the most of last year and the most of the year before that, I was saying single digit Bitcoin 6K, Bitcoin 4K, Bitcoin 5K, but now it's like, wait, what's the number? Like 17K, wait 18K, what's going on? So I feel like dude, that's a crazy time. So do you have that shock as well when you're saying that to your friends? Like, yeah, we're pushing to new heights,
For me, I feel like, since we tested it back in 2017, the all-time highs of 20,000, when we started dipping, obviously you test the highs, then you retest the lows and, establish where that floor actually is. And so for me, it was just, a matter of time before Bitcoin began to build that and that momentum that it's needed to break through again. And over the last 3 years or more, we've seen that momentum from really big money coming in, whether it's from MicroStrategy, whether it's from Square,
Mm.
whether it's from other institutions, whether it's from PayPal legitimizing,
Yeah.
like being able to buy
Oh,
Bitcoin
did you
directly
get a
on the
chance to
app.
try it out yet? Can you buy PayPal in North America right now? Jeff
I
is
have,
in Canada right now, so I'm
yeah,
just
I haven't tried it out
curious.
myself, to be honest. No,
Hmm.
I should try it. I haven't used PayPal in a long time. I don't even think I have the app on my phone.
We both ditched PayPal. Okay, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, so for me, it's always been an inevitability that Bitcoin is
Mm.
continuing to gain momentum, especially as we're seeing in the United States. You know, inflation just getting pounded on people with these stimulus
Mm.
packages. Over 20% of all U.S. currency was printed in 2020, was the stat that I read. So for me, it just spells out Bitcoin is inevitable. We need a currency that has a fixed inflation rate
Mm.
that people know the rules of and is like going towards the people. And I think to kind of close off the thought is with coronavirus, I think that was kind of the only moment where I was a little bit afraid for, okay, how long is Bitcoin going to be around
Mm.
this 3K range? Because I really felt, wow, global economies could really be tanked really hard for a
Yeah,
long
but
time.
the funny thing is, after coronavirus, everyone went into, stocks and Bitcoin and everything, and I think we're seeing that resurgence again, where people initially get scared, but then they realize, oh crap, okay, the way the government's dealing with this is just printing more money, all right? Like
Yeah.
we're in trouble, all right, and let's just print more money, guys, and they feel that. They feel that. I mean, gold's like taking off to new heights yet again. I have like a lot of gold bug friends too, and they're like, oh, they're always hounding me, like, look, Michael, look, it's gold. Go check out gold, guys. So I feel like this is also kind of bleeding over to Bitcoin and crypto as well. But I feel like
Hmm.
Bitcoin has an extra element there, not just with the
Yes.
inflation side, but also with this whole trade war going on. I think we feel it a lot more here in Asia, especially in Hong Kong, where you see restrictions on how people can spend their currencies. And I think a lot of
Yes.
people don't realize that. I mean, in US, obviously you can hold the US dollar, which is great. Hong
Yeah.
Kong kind of can hold the US dollar, but in China, absolutely, it's not possible to hold a lot of USD. And more importantly, of course, in China, you can't move currency out. So there's a restriction right now of a maximum of $50,000 worth of USD worth of currency that they can transfer out of the country per person per year. So every time you want to transfer money out of China, you have to put your card down. All right, you put your ID card down, and then they're like, okay, you transferred this much, you're allowed to transfer this much, and the government approves whether you can transfer or not. So
Yeah.
it's like, that doesn't happen on Bitcoin, guys. Like Bitcoin, it doesn't. The Bitcoin don't care who you are, what your political views are, where you live in the world. You can just transfer, and that's a lot of power. And I think, especially this year, we've been feeling it a lot more in Asia because China has really tightened that as well. Previously, people got around this kind of restriction by having a whole village of relatives, and they use everyone's ID card to send money out. But there's been a full crackdown on that this year as well. So now everyone's kind of feeling the pinch, so to speak, which is why also there's now even a driving force in Asia to kind of use Bitcoin or maybe USDT as well. That's why USDT is getting printed like mad. So, anyways, off topic, but it's power, man. It's power. I think that's just crazy.
That's 100% it, man. I think that's the biggest powerful one of the biggest value propositions to me for Bitcoin is that it allows for cross-border payments and more so it allows for freedom of the people outside of government control. For sure, governments can try to impose regulations on Bitcoin mining, on Bitcoin transactions,
Mm.
on holding Bitcoin, but at the end of the day, the people really have the flexibility and the opportunity to be able to transact wealth in whatever way they want, to be able to send it out. And like China, I think is it's a large part of the world, but it's a very niche aspect of the world. And you have other instances like Venezuela where they are doing anything to be able to get value into their economy, so that they have wheelbarrows full of money that they're pushing around and just dumping into the streets because it's totally valueless. And so currencies like crypto and Bitcoin, I
Yes.
think, offer a huge value proposition to a lot of people in the world who are being completely disenfranchised by their government. And I think the United States is not outside of that description either.
I think so too. I think you're seeing around the world, and I just wanted to throw out India there too. Like this year, I've been getting a
Yes.
lot of action, like and talk from India, especially. Two reasons why. I think one is India is growing at a massive rate. So just think of where there's population in the world, right? So China, India, they take up a major portion of the world's population. So they're bound to grow sometime. The other thing is that there's a pattern, right? So in Indian kind of unicorns had a delay, right? So we had unicorns in the US and unicorns in China, like all this Alibaba and crap. And then now unicorns are popping up in India where these new tech giants are appearing. And now we're talking about blockchain unicorns too. So like all of a sudden now we're talking like Matic really just took off like crazy, and that's like a very based in India project, right? So I feel like this is also a time where kind of globally there's a lot of interest in Bitcoin and also blockchain, and which gives this whole situation a lot of power. I think I do agree with you to say that it's inevitable. Obviously, when during the worst times, like when I was making videos when Bitcoin was 5K, 6K, people didn't care, right? People like we knew and we were accumulating, which was great, but at the same time, I think like the general public didn't know, which is kind of sad, right? Because that was like the best time, right? Because like during when everyone's selling, you should buy, right? But I feel like now people are getting the attention's coming here, but I feel like this time around we're having a bit better growth, a bit better. It's not insane hype. I think there's reasoning behind it this time, which is great.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned that in terms of the hype and the growth, because I think one of the trends that a lot of people look to is, well, Google Trends, where you can see the search frequency of different words, and I feel that that search frequency really speaks to retail interest. And when you look on Google Trends right now, in comparison to 2017, it's
It's
probably
nowhere
about
near. Yeah.
1/20th or maybe max 1/10 of where it was. And I know for sure that the people who bought in 2017, or a lot of them, and a lot of retail, I think people who are listening to this stream, and myself and you might have this kind of you know uh, horse blinder perspective or echo chamber, like, oh, everyone knows already how to buy crypto and how to buy Bitcoin. But I guarantee you, when the retail interest, when that retail FOMO kicks back in, people are going to Google and they're typing buy Bitcoin. They don't remember that, oh yeah, it's Coinbase, I already have this app installed, or it's going to be back in the Google Trends. And so for me, seeing this growth, which I think has been primarily fueled by these big institutional moves this time around. I could be totally wrong. This is just a crazy speculation. But I don't think that retail has hit yet. I think
No,
last
no,
time we were waiting for
no.
institution, and I think this time we're waiting for retail.
Um, I think so. I think so. I mean, we see that across social media as well. I mean, even with like, I kind of monitor everything, right? So one of them is Google Trends. Then
Right.
we obviously have Reddit cryptocurrency. Then we have, of course, the Facebook groups that you're managing. The communities aren't growing at an exponential rate. Right? I mean, it used to have this hockey stick up, and I think we're still early on. I do see a shift in people though. Like before, people were very kind of like um very either elitist, like there was a very strong either maximalist community that everything's a scam but Bitcoin, and there's very toxic, right? And
Yeah.
then there was a community which was like, oh, I only trust the coins I have, and then I don't want to listen to anything else. But now I feel like the more exploratory side is coming back. So I feel like that's the more positive momentum where you see kind of people saying, "Oh yeah, just tell me a bit more. I want to know a little bit more." And that's when people want education. I feel like that's when things start because people are actually genuinely interested rather than just holding on to old bags
Yeah.
that they've been holding on for years and just like shaking their fists, right? So I feel like there's a shift in that momentum. So I feel like yes, right now, absolutely, we're not growing in terms of community at the exponentially fast rate, but we are seeing a little bit more and the slight shift in mentality as well. I think that's kind of strong.
Yeah, I definitely agree with how important the shift in mentality is, especially as it relates to being able to catalyze more innovation into the space. Because I think one of the biggest problems, in my opinion, is I know I might get some rocks thrown at me virtually, but is Bitcoin maximalism. I'm a full, huge advocate for Bitcoin. However, to be able to just label everything, whether it's Ethereum or whether it's Cardano or whether it's whatever coin, a scam just because it's not Bitcoin or it has a pre-mine, I think does so much harm for the growth of this industry as a whole. Because Bitcoin is one aspect. I wouldn't even consider it a peer-to-peer currency. It's more so a store and transfer of value. Like you're never going to go to Starbucks and pay with your Bitcoin. The layer 2 hasn't been built out to the scale that we need it yet. And so we need other options to be able to complete these kinds of transactions. We need other options to complete different types of smart contracts. You know, Bitcoin isn't smart contract compatible. So I agree with you fully, is that we need the shift in mentality. For me, is one of the biggest things to kind of see the space mature.
I think that, yeah, and this year I made a switch as well. It's like because there used to be an argument for Bitcoin maximalism where Ethereum's a scam and LF is a scam, but I think like it's abundantly clear with this year that you've seen the power of Ethereum. Like I feel like all of a sudden, like with the whole rise of DeFi, I'm like, holy crap! Like this is like, it finally like really clicked for me how much like stuff can be done here. Like all of a sudden, like not only can you launch a token, but you can immediately crowdfund that liquidity to the trading pair. You can get it trading on an exchange. You can now instantly add it. Like there's lending platforms where you can lend it. Like you can lend it out to become collateral. You can take that out. There's like so many imaginative things that you can do it right now on it right now. Like, we just start exploring like the I think just the very, very tip of the iceberg. And just by the way, I figured out like I just need to give credit. So we figured out why there was an echo. It's because of these headphones. Like I was putting my headphones close to the mic, so then that would like create an echo for you, and I wouldn't hear the echo because I'm not hearing my mic, right? So thanks for spotting that, guys. It's like someone spotted. I just want to give credit. Yeah. So I was like, okay, yeah. So it's from Shadow ID60. Says this echo is from open back mic headphones. They're louder when they face the mic, so I reduced my volume here. It should be good now. All right. But yeah, I feel like that's the case, and I feel like, okay, so polling the chat a little bit. So are you guys entering this scene? Are you guys have you guys been here for a while? You're holding on to Bitcoin? Tell me where you guys are at, because I definitely want to know some bit more information. I've had a few people come to me and say, oh, I'm new and I'm trying to understand things. How about on your side, Jeff? Like, do you see a lot of people in the new community asking about new stuff, or is it still mostly older people?
No, it's definitely, I mean, it has not been the 2017 wave by any stretch of the imagination yet, but there definitely is a large resurgence of people asking the fairly common questions, like where's the best place to buy crypto?
As well. I mean, some people are like, oh, I'm surprised, Box Mining, you still have a like YouTube channel? What is this? It's crazy. It's been so long, like.
That's right. Yeah, no, it has been nice. And anyways, I think to kind of summarize, I'm incredibly bullish on this next cycle with Bitcoin. I think some people have been throwing out some really insane numbers for where Bitcoin can potentially go. I'd probably throw my hat right into there as well.
All right. I found that that's the current case of the crypto community, right? Like we're just daring each other to make bolder and bolder predictions, because like
that's right.
Like, why not, right? What is this? 250K? Are you stupid? At least 2 million for Bitcoin end of 2021, and then someone's like, you dumbass. No, man, 20 million at least. And I'm like,
I'll tell you what, markets are irrational. There's no way to predict them. And I'm never going to make a John McAfee bet where I'm putting something like that on the line. But I think this time around, we have a lot more foundation. We have a lot more. I think the biggest word for me is legitimacy behind Bitcoin. In 2017, it was still nerd money as this weird speculative asset. And now it's no longer nerd money as a speculative asset. It's still speculative asset, just as gold is, or just as a Tesla stock is. But it now has backing behind it by serious players, serious companies. And I think that bodes very well for the story of Bitcoin.
And we survived multiple dips as well. I think that's kind of key here too, right? Like, I feel like, the start, when I talked about Bitcoin to my parents, they really didn't understand it. They're like, okay, it's some weird coin or something. And then they thought, oh, this is so weird. It's risky. Why are you basing, your entire career on this Bitcoin thing? When you're going back to normal, right? Like, why don't you do like your normal stuff, right? And then now they're like, this year especially, because there's so much kind of propaganda almost in China side. So my parents are Chinese, they watch Chinese media. So China's been saying, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're the best performing assets now. Like before, they're like saying, oh, on national TV, they'll be saying, oh, Bitcoin's a scam, it sucks. But because they're pushing out DCEP, their digital national currency, they've also kind of been, oh, you know what? yeah, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they were kind of okay. We based our tech on that too, so we got to give
Right.
that a little bit of legitimacy. So now it's like I feel like there's a shift in understanding and in kind of a viewpoint. I think still a lot of people still think that it's highly volatile, but I think as we've been going into the space a lot more, yes, it can move up and down a lot, but also it doesn't die, right? Like there's so many attempts to kill Bitcoin and to make it zero. Yeah, those have failed pretty poorly. So that's the case.
100%. Yeah, it's not going anywhere, but I think a lot of people sometimes might think, you're seeing like DCEP as a digital currency backed by the government or created by the government. I think that's the path that we're going to be seeing taken through other governments adopting, or other corporations like we saw with
Yeah,
Libra. They're not going to be like, hey, guess what, guys? We're using Bitcoin Utopia. It's going to be their
yeah.
own controlled private chain. So I think that's, a pseudo unfortunate thing, but again, it adds legitimacy to the technology and to the ecosystem as a whole.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think just like going up the comments here, some people are saying $450 million for Bitcoin, possibly. Like there will be a time when we switch. I think that's what we've been saying. But I think like okay, the other thing is Bart Simpson patterns. Obviously,
Right.
I think this is the biggest thing to watch out for in the space where we can have Bart Simpson patterns appearing. And I know we saw that yesterday too, right? I mean, we've been hovering 18K, right? And then bam, it
Yeah.
smashes down for like 3 minutes into 17K, and
Yep.
then it'll smash down again. And I think that's gonna grow as well. I think there's gonna be times when like for short periods of time it will seem like the world's gonna fall apart, and that's very strategic, right? I think a lot of whales and a lot of traders know exactly what they're doing, but what they're doing essentially is that a lot of people, because they're so bullish, especially if you look at crypto Twitter, I think there's not zero people who are not bullish about Bitcoin at this current point, right? They've all
Right.
have leveraged longs, and that is quite dangerous at this current
Yes.
point, where if you have a leveraged long, there's a certain point at which you will get liquidated. So if Bitcoin drops in the price, there's a certain point when you can get liquidated, and there are people who are intentionally hunting for those longs. Like that's kind of the scary part now.
100%. Yeah. And I think in terms of the, especially lots of these exchanges now are offering 100x, 125x. And a lot of people take that gamble. A lot of people even are even going 50x. If you're going 50x and that thing swings from 18 to 17, you're liquidated. You are liquidated. And all that money goes to the exchanges. And so me, I had a little bit of I posted a little thought. I'm keen to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay.
But in theory,
Okay.
kind of the tweet went, what are the odds that different centralized exchanges, leading centralized exchanges, work in tandem to create these flash crashes, to make massive liquidation events to just pad their pockets? What would stop them from doing that?
Nothing really. I would say absolutely happens. Like, but two things, right? Two things. Are exchanges this smart? Like recently I got a lot of exchange FUD, right? Like I've been seeing a lot of infighting in different exchanges, and I would say the people who are probably working with this would be probably the big funds, the big quant funds, or the kind of the silent quant funds in the space, and they're making like these huge plays. So I absolutely feel like that's possible. Like there are people who they can get the exchange intel. I mean, yesterday I had a talk with there's a video up from the guys from WooTrade/Chronos Research, and they exactly do that, right? They classify people, like they look at the trades that are happening, they classify them into market maker, retail, or trader, and then they start to make these like big plays, right? And he was very vague on it, but it's entirely possible that his firm will also do this, where he might work with exchanges, he might get that data intelligence to see, okay, where people are in this current place. So all you have to do, right, is cause this kind of like cascading trigger to cause this giant downward arrow, and then you set your orders, right? So you know exactly roughly where people get liquidated, and you set your buy orders there. And then what they do is they're the ones who cause the initial drop, and then once people start liquidating, it just starts falling down, right? And then they'll have a big buy order right here, and then bam, like they pick up the buy order and then push it back up. This is why we're seeing these giant spikes up and down right now in the market, where it just goes down and it immediately goes back up, because these guys have buy orders and they just buy it back up, and they just picked up Bitcoin for the cheap, and then they can either sell it off quickly or they can hold it. So I feel like that's absolutely, like, it's to do with exchanges and also with these quant trading firms that are like 100% playing this space. Like, you see the effects of that.
100%, man. Yeah, I think to summarize the whole thing for anyone who's listening, margin trading, futures trading, it's an easy way to get wrecked. You're going to make
Super
9
easy.
trades where
Super
you're
easy.
profitable, and then you're going to make 1 trade where it wipes out those other 9 and then
Yes.
some. It's
like I know some good players who do futures, and they have a lot of accounts. I think that's the kind of the key here, where you make a strategic direction and a certain amount of time, so they don't have long-term exposure. They kind of know where they're going. So I've been talking to a lot of traders recently, and I think that's the kind of key. And then it's all about sub accounts. Like, even if if one of these events come, they're protected. So I think that kind of makes sense. But yet again, like, why expose yourself to so much risk? There's also other traders that play funding rates. So every exchange, because they need to make sure that the markets, especially for futures, kind of are in the same price range as the actual asset. So they have funding rates. So some people play funding rates. They don't have any leverage, but they have funding rates. But anyways, it's kind of funny. It's lots of trading strategies. But I think the core here of this discussion is that if you don't know what you're doing, HODL makes a lot of sense, especially like if you're not an MIT whiz kid, you don't know what you're doing. All right, I think that's how it is. Like, you gotta be like MIT whiz kid, either that or the part of the Harvard mafia and like Binance. You gotta be like super high IQ. Stop listening to other people who tell you, hey, look, I got a good tip. I can make $10,000, $1 million.
But I mean, careful about challenging people by saying like, hey, if only people who have a high IQ, because guess what? Everybody thinks they have a high IQ.
That is true. That is true. That is true. Everyone thinks their IQ is 4,000, right?
Yeah, there's these tests where it's like it'll poll the population, and it's like, okay, what, for example, driving. Do you think your driving is below average, average, or above average? And everyone's above average. About 90% of people are above average, but statistically, 50% should be below average. But that's never how it works out.
That is true. That's true. But the tip I have is I have a picture of that guy with crazy hair from FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, every time I'm playing against the market, I'm playing against this guy. Like, do I think today I can outsmart him? Him with a smiley face and him running, like, I think it's like Alameda, I think it should be over past 100 million right now. So like, that's the level you want to be at. So like, if you want to mark, these guys. But anyways, okay, so everyone's asking about Trustswap. You know what? I'm gonna switch to this pair of headphones, so it's not an open back one. So I'm following the suggestion of the chat. So to give me one quick second, I'm just gonna switch over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way I can turn you up a little bit more. Can you hear me?
Yeah, check.
Okay,
I'm good.
Cool. Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is closed back, so it's a little bit better. Yeah. Okay. So Trustswap, a lot of stuff's happening. You're running Trustswap. I mean, I think it's one of the most aggressive projects around, right? So do you give us a rundown of everything that's happening and what's part of the ecosystem right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, to kind of just touch on the aggressiveness, about, was it an hour and a half ago, we announced that we're actually making an acquisition of another crypto company. I don't even know if you saw that yet or not.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
I always do my research coming in, okay? I've
always
done, I always look at Twitter and say, okay, what's Jeff up to? Because I'm not retarded.
No, yeah, so we're hopefully going to be closing out this acquisition within the next few days and potentially have the announcement out there within a week. And this acquisition, I'm incredibly excited for. It's directly in our already existing business model, and it's going to really help us take us to the next level. I think in crypto, in terms of acquisitions, there's been less than a dozen from what I've been able to research. So I'm pretty excited to kind of put Trustswap in the ranks of a company that is able to make that happen. And the terms of the acquisition are just incredibly beneficial for everybody involved, including the holders, the ecosystem. It's just going to be really, really strong. So I'm excited for that in a big way.
Nice, nice. I just want to read this stuff because whoever drafts your stuff is like a freaking amazing. Do you write this stuff? Like, let me read
Yeah,
it out for you guys.
I just write that.
You're such a good writer. Let me just like let me bring that to the screen. So we have this. We're set to buy out another crypto company and on board their assets, team IP to grow Trustswap into an absolute monolith. We aim to become the number one, not just by a little, by a mile. This acquisition is going to make us become number one. This acquisition is going to to help us to get there in a good way. We anticipate to have all the details and contracts signed within the next 7 days. That's pretty fast. Once this happens, Trustswap is quickly going to be climbing to a whole new level. Man, I love the way you write, man. It's like you got energy. Like this is like that's the thing about Jeff. You know, like give me 1 second. Let me put us back to the Zoom thing. Like, yeah. I mean, we met in Bali. We've been working out together. I'm like, oh my god, this guy is like, he's got so much energy. It's crazy, right? So congrats on that, getting that done. So you got that acquisition done. That's gonna be a lot. There's also Coin launching. Tell me a little bit about Coin. Like, how did this even come about?
Yeah, well, so Coin. So first, I'll kind of talk about Coin real quick, and then I'll talk about the funny how it came about, because there actually is a funny story. Now, I'll tell the story beforehand because it makes the rest of it a lot better.
Okay.
So we have a competitor. Let's say they're called Liquidity Dividends Protocol, and there was an incident a couple months back that Trustswap went through. I'm sure a lot of people remember that incident. It hit us really hard, and we learned a lot, and we've changed a lot of how we're doing our marketing messaging. We learned a lot, and we're trying to really, anyways, listen to what the community says, take the feedback. Regardless, we have a inkling that this community launched a paid FUD attack on us. And at that time, their only business model was liquidity locks. So we said, you know what? We're offering free liquidity locks. And then that project said, okay, we're going to do a launch pad. And so they started bringing on a couple different projects for their launch pad, and Coin was one of them. So we reached out to Coin and we said, hey, Trustswap has a launch pad too. And then the rest is history. So I don't like to kind of do slanderous things. I like to take the high road and just outcompete. And so we're definitely doing that. So I'm really happy. As you can tell, it pumps me up to be able to take the high road and just crush it. So anyways, Coin was acquired that way.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
Very humble.
Well, hey, I don't know.
Much humble.
As you mentioned,
humility I've seen. You just crushed your opponents, turning into an absolute monolith. This juggernaut in the space by a mile.
Hey.
Humility, the high road. You gotta take it.
I'm just speaking objectively, man. I'm just speaking objectively. So anyways, Coin is a project I'm incredibly excited about. It's actually the project that has so far been the most hyped launchpad project that we have had to date. They're raising $2.4 million on the Trustswap launchpad. And to kind of give a quick overview summary of what Coin is, it's a decentralized exchange. Kind of the big catch that really interests me about Coin is their token model and reward system, where half of the revenue is going directly to stakers, and it's also a cross-chain DEX, and it's a superstar team led by two leading Microsoft executives, or ex-Microsoft executives, and Alex Mashinsky is on there too, of Celsius. So this team is incredibly strong. They have the right talent. They have everything going for them, and the momentum is really strong. And so that is launching actually in about 13 hours from now on launchpad.trustswap.org. And all people have to do to get into it is to hold 2,000 swap tokens, and you get a guaranteed allocation. So I'm pumped.
Nice. So a few things, right? So I feel like that has a huge goal, but also it has a huge raise, right? So you want to raise the entire 2.4 million?
Yep. Yeah, and I'm pretty confident that's going to happen. We've had Chain Games on our launch pad, we've had Orbit on our launch pad, we've had MobiPay on our launch pad. All three of those have closed off within 3 hours. Chain Games closed off within 20 seconds, and the other two I think took longer because they had really long vesting periods. Like, how long was it? Like 3 months, or I forget now. I should have this by memory. Really long vesting, whereas Coin vesting period is 4 weeks. So you get 25% every week, and I think it's 25% on the day that it launches. So people like that short vesting period because crypto moves quickly, and so I think that's very attractive for people to be able to get in at an incredibly attractive rate. Coin is launching at a $4 million market cap, so you compare that to Uniswap. Obviously, Uniswap is king right now, but they're at like however many million, like 400 million. Kyber and Bancor are around
Mm,
like 100 million range. So it's a very attractive offering, in my opinion, and I'm incredibly excited about it as well.
nice, nice, nice. So that, check it out, guys. So if you own swap tokens, check it out. The Launchpad. I think everything is on the Medium. I'll just like throw the Medium on article on here. So let me just double like this is throwing me off my game up by game, but anyway, so this is the screen. Check it out. There's an article. I'll link it on here. It's just 12 hours. So you wrote this, huh? I love your writing.
The acquisition article I wrote. I might mostly, well, it's either myself or Jason who write the Medium articles, but if there's words
Nice.
like monolith or absolutely massive, you can bet that I wrote that one.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, let me just make sure. Yeah, because my OBS game today is really off. I'm just like, I don't know why tech is not in my favor today. So I'll send that up to the chat, guys. So next up is DeFi, right? So I think I'll talk to you a little bit about it, because I mean, Trustswap is in DeFi. You've been in DeFi space for a long time. We rode the wave up, we rode the wave down. What's your take on it? Like, what's your feeling of the current DeFi scene right now?
Yeah, and I think I could, kind of compare a metaphor to what we saw in Bitcoin in 2017. There was a lot of hype, a lot of
Mm,
speculation, just a lot of FOMO and people making a ton of money off something that didn't have a really strong foundation in Bitcoin in 2017. And that's what we see potentially, a couple of months ago in DeFi, just people throwing money at anything that had those four letters in it. And APYs that we're at. I know you were mining this. You're like, yeah, this thing's getting like 1,000, 2,000%
who
APY
cares
or
what it
whatever.
is, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Hot dog.
I'll double my money in a month, so it doesn't matter. It's okay.
Exactly. Yeah, but it never even lasted a month. You had like 4 days
Yeah,
to like mine this thing at 2,000% JPY and just like
yeah,
have your finger on the trigger to be able to like pull out if it crashed.
yeah,
So I feel like DeFi has a lot of maturing to
mm,
go. There needs to be some foundational layers built up underneath of it. I don't want to kind of give away too much of the leak for the next Launchpad project that's going to be coming in December. But
yeah. Hmm.
essentially, let's just say it's Coinbase, the simplicity of Coinbase meets DeFi and the ability to get mom and dad earning 10 to 20% on their
Mm.
cryptocurrency. So rather than just having to, install Coinbase and say, hey, listen, I want to, just hold Bitcoin, you
Mm.
can hold the crypto and earn that APY. So I
I
think,
think that's the next frontier. I think
yeah,
you touched upon a lot of things, and I just want to just roll back a little bit. All right, so few things, right? Farming. I think I didn't do this recap with you guys on this channel yet, but farming had a meteoric rise, and it gave a lot of people the opportunity to make money on their money, right?
yeah,
So it was such a good opportunity. Like when the farming was good, I farmed the crap out of farming. I mean, even for 4 days, a 4,000% APY was insane. And if you just kept moving within that 1 month, you're doubling your money essentially, right? And a lot of people and a lot of funds are doing this. And it came to a point where the rich got richer. So like what was very popular at that time were also vaults. So it's
mhm,
like these vaults will mine for you. Like people who find the farming too hard, like these vaults will farm it for you. So a good example would be Wi-Fi. So the first YFI, it had vaults, and the vaults would enter these strategies where it will go and mine and farm other projects. And a good thing was that because other projects were generating such a high yield, Wi-Fi also had a very high yield, right? So it was like almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. And then on top of that, too, so YFII, there were Value, there was Pylon, there was like a million other harvest farm. So the kind of interesting thing is that the more once the momentum keeps going up, it's good, but once the momentum stabilizes or stops dropping, like at the end of the day, these all new projects are creating new coins. There's no way that all these coins are valuable,
mhm,
right? So it came to the point where a lot of coins just were coins for the sake of being coins, and there are people who are out there to scam people. And kind of as the scams started growing, the yield started dropping, and then
right.
as the yield started dropping, the price of the coins started dropping too, right? Like, and then people started suffering permanent loss. People start getting out of farming, and it just led to this huge decline, right?
Mhm,
And coupled with the fact that one of the biggest factors I would say with farming is that once people start understanding how it worked, which is what I've been saying for the longest amount of time, which you just farm, but you don't expose yourself to impermanent loss. You don't keep the actual coin. So once everyone
Right.
adopts that strategy, no one kept the actual coin. So then everyone just dumped that coin, and it just caused this 99.5% drop in a coin's price in a day, right? Like these
Right.
sudden it almost looks like a rug pull, but it's not. It's just people. It's just the farmers dumping, right? So
De-risking.
de-risking, exactly, my favorite word. So that led to a few situations where right now we're at the kind of a farm apocalypse, where I would say where I would discourage any project from farming. I'll be like, yo, stop giving away free coins, okay? Like just stop, it's not cool anymore. All right, so it's a situation where the yields are very low right now, and as a result, the vaults are also having very low yield. So it's like it's kind of recursive, really. So anyway, so it's Ponzi-nomics up, and then I guess dump-nomics down. So I guess that's where we faced it. So is it game over though? Is the next question. I don't think so. I feel like we experienced such a high where we got accustomed to 1000% APY, right? And
Yeah.
that's kind of insane, right? If 1000% APY means you'll 10x your money in a year, right? These numbers are astronomical. HSBC, for reference, is giving me 0.025 APY. It's like it doesn't even compare. So I think we got really spoiled, but now I feel like we're coming back down to earth. We're finding, okay, look, there's some projects that's offering 10%. That's a lot better than saving money in a bank still, right? A bank would be 0.5%. And a lot of these projects are running for a longer period of time. So with 10% APY, with less risk, I mean, during the farming days, the risk was astronomical, right? You're kind of essentially going into what is essentially unaudited code. But now audits are coming. Now there's more stability, which I feel like that's why there's a lot more projects doing so. So we saw Swissborg, they're running these farm projects out. That's a lot more legitimate, and they're essentially looking at insurance options for this too. So it's more and more becoming like a better version of a bank, right? And I think that's what, like you said, with the next project that you're coming on as well, it's essentially this, right? You're kind of expanding the audience, so it's not just limited to a few tech geeks who understand how to code or work at CoinGecko, but now it's like
or using that Curve Finance website, that ugly like Windows 98 UI. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't diss that, man. It's like it's made by geniuses apparently. But yes, absolutely, Windows 95, man, it's cool again. But yes, absolutely, like good modern clean interfaces. That's pretty much it. What is DeFi? Is it like coin like Cardano? So many Cardano shows here. It's kind of crazy. We see them come back.
Well, maybe that's kind of a question that I'm always interested to hear people's perspective on. I'd like to maybe field a question to you. We have Ethereum. It had in the DeFi craze, they were shooting at like $100 gas fees. And guess what? ETH was still king. Telos didn't move. EOS didn't move. Cardano didn't move. Nobody cared, and no other chain was able to Tron a little bit. Tron kind of launched a couple DeFi things here and there, but in your opinion, is ETH like flat king? You know what I mean? Like almost no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a few things, right? Let's leave Cardano aside, because Cardano doesn't even have smart contracts yet, right? It's just got a while. So I don't want to diss Cardano, but that's just the state it is, right? Okay, so other coins, right? So we have blockchain 3.0 coming out, and there was like this Algorand hash graph that's supposedly millions of TPS. There's a lot of other ones like Binance Smart Chain. BSC is essentially Ethereum, right? They essentially said, okay, every developer that develops on Ethereum, you can migrate to Binance Smart Chain, and it's got the Binance branding, and we'll try to list you, and we'll try to do this under launch, whatever, the launch pool, whatever, right? So Binance had a bunch of things there, but none of them really pull developers away from the ETH. So I absolutely agree with you. Like even Sam. So I actually grilled Sam hard on this. Sam Bankman-Fried. He's pushing Solana super hard, right? Solana 1 million TPS without sharding, right? Like he's like, oh, this is the future, because ETH 2.0 is going to go for sharding. That's going to be risky because composability is going to be an issue. And I'm from throwing a bunch of these crazy words. I should make it easier, but none of them are pulling people away from ETH, and it just goes to show how strong. I think he even said himself, he underestimated how strong the Ethereum community is, and he underestimated how loyal, say, the San Francisco guys are on, like, especially a lot of investors on ETH. And I think on top of that as well, the community is used to trading on ETH too, right? So if you try to raise a project elsewhere, where are you gonna get the money, right? Like, the only other one that I really legitimately saw, yes, you said Tron and Binance, but that's because both of them had both their essentially the teams pushing money into that, right? Tron was literally funding the Tron DeFi, just throwing money into that ecosystem. Like, the general public wasn't there, and Justin was trying so hard on social media to get people to invest in his Tron projects. And the same thing happened with Binance. Like, CZ is constantly posting up Binance Smart Chain stuff, but they're not getting as much traction as Ethereum. So I feel like there's a lot of loyalty there, especially to the ETH community. Although ETH is as broken as it is, like, there's a lot of problems there. But I think people still rather wait on ETH, which is very interesting. I find that very cool as well.
And we got deposit contracts open on ETH right now that was supposed to be launching on December 1st. And I think we're only funded 13% or something like that was last that I saw. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't seen this. Oh, the ETH2, right? ETH2?
Yes. Yeah. Because to be able to launch the staking contracts, they need a certain amount of ETH in the pool. And it's less than 20% currently. I don't know the exact number, but I was pretty shocked.
Let me bring this up. Let me just throw this here. Okay, so throw this here. So this is for Ethereum 2.0. So in total, so I'm just putting this on the screen right now. On total network status, it needs to reach 524,000 ETH. So we calculated that. That's like $25 million, right, worth of ETH in this contract to move to Ethereum 2.0. Right now they have 104,000 ETH in that contract to move to ETH2. This is the big upgrade, right? This is the one that everyone's anticipating, right? This is the one that's and it's gonna change the world, but still, the deadline is coming up in a week's time. So they need the bar to fill up with in a week before they get ready to launch ETH2, and it doesn't look like it's gonna go to completion so far. Two things I would say. Did it surprise me? Yes, I thought we would be moving faster, especially towards these last few days. I would be expecting like almost like an eBay bid where all the bids come in at the last minute. So we'll have to see. But the other thing I feel like it's a situation where people need to put money where their mouths are, and people verbally they're very loud on this. But I feel like this is very technical too. Did I like you asked me the question? Did I move or did I even test this out yet? And I would say no. Because two things. One, I ran the test net for ETH2. I ran it myself, but the biggest problem was that I had a lot of problems, not with my tech skill, but with hosting. There was the hosting provider I used hated me, right? So if you do this migration, so you migrate the 32 ETH over, you're gonna earn more, right? That's why people want to go over. That's a driving factor, right? You want to migrate, you're gonna earn. But the problem is if you're earning, whilst you're earning, you need to do stuff. Your server needs to be up 24 hours a day. You need to be competent that you don't get attacked by hackers. And if your server goes down, every second that it's down, you are losing ETH.
Yeah.
So
you're earning the interest at least, right? Not your principal.
You're losing. If your server is down, you are losing.
The interest, the opportunity of interest, or your principal? Just the
your
opportunity.
Your principal.
What? No.
Yeah.
So if you stake 32 ETH and then never turn your server on, you're saying that you're gonna.
Yes. You'll see a slide down. Like you'll see, like when your server's on, it slowly goes up, and if your server's off, it slowly go down. Because you're missing the votes. Basically, as a ETH2 validator, you need to vote. Right, and your server needs to be online 24/7 to see to identify what to vote on and to make those votes. If you miss those votes, you get penalized, and you will lose those 32 ETH. You will start. It's a very slow bleed out process, though. It's not fast. Okay, and the other thing is if your server gets compromised and you start voting incorrectly. So let's say a hacker tries to take over your server and attacks it, and you become an attacker on the ETH network, right? Let's say there's a malicious hacker, your server gets taken over, he makes you malicious, then not only will you lose slowly, but you'll get slashed, which means you're fucked. Like you can get obliterated. Like that deposit there, the 32 ETH deposit, can get obliterated if you don't do the tech wall. So magic, right?
Well, man, there's a barrier to adoption right there. And
Yeah.
I know, like, I think Rocket Pool is one of those options where people can submit their ETH and then they run the node and all this kind of thing. But I'm not too familiar with the tech behind Rocket Pool in terms of custodial, non-custodial, and how much trust you need to put in this entity. And yeah, it's a sticky situation because I was, I think you mentioned 25 million. I just crunched the numbers. It's more like it's 250 million.
Oh yeah. Okay, yep, there you go.
USD.
Oh, missing a number, zero there. Okay, go up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
it's a substantial amount.
It's a substantial amount for sure. So I mean, I definitely hope we're gonna get there. Oh, well, I think it's an inevitability.
Hopefully.
Come on, Vitalik, put up your pocket change, Vitalik. Come on, I know you got it kicking around in there.
Okay, that's the funny thing is Vitalik's not very rich. It's Joe Lubin. Joe Lubin needs to put his pocket change there. I think he will. That's my guess. I think like towards the end, maybe he'll be like, yeah, I'll put my pocket change here. I'll do it for you guys. But the way it's designed is also, it's like it's a painful process because they designed it so they want as much community contribution as possible. So the max you can stake per validator is 32 ETH. So if Joe wants to do it and he wants to take the entire pool, he has to open like a lot of validators himself. Let me just calculate that. So let me bring this numbers up again. So I feel like the move to Ethereum 2.0 is going to come, but maybe what they'll probably do. So there's two scenarios, right, for this Ethereum 2.0 launch. So one is that towards the last few minutes, it's going to be like an eBay bid, or bam, bam, bam. People are going to come in, fill this bar, and they're going to launch it. Right, that's one possibility. You actually need 16,000 validators. So yeah, so if someone wants to like spin up 16,000 validators, they can. It's not hard, but it's just annoying, right? So
yeah. You were talking about with me earlier on how, like, the problems that you were having with like a dozen different farms open or whatever. Like imagine having like all those
10,000
validators.
Yeah,
oh
it's fucking, it's insane. And the only way you can really feasibly do this is AWS, which isn't decentralized, and you can see all the Bitcoin guys going crazy. Like I'm trying different services. So just a plug here, I'm trying different services. I'm trying, first of all, hosting myself. Second of all, I'm trying Staker by Anchor. So they're trying to do a more decentralized way of running these nodes. There's also All Nodes that's just pushing. I've been using their nodes hosting services for a long time. So they're trying to do that. And also I'm trying on my own kind of non-AWS server. So like I'm trying multiple ways. I've been very, very deep into this, trying to figure out the best way to do it. So stay tuned for results coming up soon. So anyways, but yeah, I think it's super hard to manage this, especially because the code right now is not perfect. But that's why I'm like, guys, if you're looking into Ethereum 2.0, you guys want the update, just sit on your hands for now. All right, the rewards aren't very high at all, and that's why no one's jumping into it. Let the tech guys jump into it, even if there's a delay. I think right now, like if there's a delay on ETH launch to launch, I wouldn't mind. Right? So if this bar doesn't fill up, the other scenario is that they're gonna adjust the limit. They're gonna adjust how much they need to launch it. Right? They came up with a number and say, okay, this number is great, but it's an arbitrary number. Let's try to get a community to put as much money. This is the bar. They can just probably lower that a little bit, and they're good to go. So it'll look bad, but it's not going to be perfect. So my 2 cents there. All right, so ETH 2.0, we've roughly finished that discussion. I think there's still a lot there, right? So I'll do one shameless plug right now. So right now, I'll just do this while Jeff is here. I'm not sure if you've seen this, Jeff, but I have a card that's going out, a giveaway card for the King box mining. All right,
King, I haven't seen it. Let's see it.
The King box mining. I put it on my screen right now, but I think I need to send it to you separately. So this is from the DuckDAO guys. They're doing a card collection game, right? So they're doing a card collection game where you collect, there's 48 cards and you got to collect them all. So it's like a kind of a race to collect cards. I'll send it to you on Jeff. I'll send it to you on Telegram so you can see that. But anyways, it's on my window right now. So Yeah, so it's like duck. It's the king box mining. I made them do this because like I was like, if we're gonna do something fun, I want to do something weird and interesting, and I gotta. It's me as a duck, as a king. Right? It's
Pretty good.
outrageous. It's outrageous. So guys, if you're interested in getting this card, there's only 8 in the world. All right, there's only 8. There's only going to be 8 ever going to be minted, and the giveaway we're going to give one of those cards right now, and the rest will be like random drops elsewhere, so it's super rare. I think I have the rarest card out of them all, so there's only 8 in this world, and if you want to collect the entire set, you got to have my card too. So anyways, so if you guys want to participate in that, check out the tweet. It's given out absolutely for free. I think that's the way NFTs should be. Like, so big thank you for the DuckDAO guys for setting this up. Basically, it's for free. All you have to do is retweet it, tag 3 friends, and put your ETH address, so I know who the winner is. So you retweet this tweet, tag 3 friends, and you're pretty much good to go. And yeah, it looks amazing. It looks amazing. So I'm actually pretty proud of this. I thought this is the best way for this to go.
I'll tell you what, man. If you got a nose job and replicated that, I don't think might not be the worst decision. It looks good, man. Yeah.
It was actually pretty fast too. Like they had a few sketches, and then like the artists were super fast in coming up with this. So like I totally feel like they got this like game down on point. But anyway, so this is the first season of this. People have got to collect 48 cards, and the first one to collect 48 cards, they get $100,000. Right, so that's like a huge motivation. Like, we're not collecting GIFs here, right? I mean, I've complained in the past that these NFTs are like, oh, you're just collecting a GIF. Why don't I screenshot that? But there's a purpose to collect this. You collect off 48, you're gonna get, essentially win 100K. So I'm like pushing this community, like we better win. We have like the rarest card right now, so we're like, we better win this. All right, this is me telling you guys watching this, we better win this. Also, there's midway prizes too. So like the big prize pool is 200K, but if you get like, I think there's like sets inside, so there's like 4 sets, and if you collect a full set as well, you get a reward too. So it's kind of crazy. Anyways, yeah, it's insane. So I know, and it's free, so this is like a giveaway thing. Like, just like retweet that stuff, and it's already got like some crazy amounts. It's got like, I think like 371 retweets so far. So you guys better do it and better win this. Like, we need to win. This community needs to win. So anyways, okay, that's my show for the day. It's my duck card. All right, so altcoins. Okay, so moving on to the last thing, altcoins. Okay, are you still into a lot of altcoins? Are you all into the Trustswap guys, like Trustswap Launchpad guys? What's your take on altcoins so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think altcoins are phenomenal. I think they're not a necessity, but what make me so excited about cryptocurrency, because for me, cryptocurrency is about innovation. It's not about one single entity, Bitcoin, being the all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful God. I think there's definitely that energy to it, but altcoins, I think, to me, are just various companies that serve different purposes and have been able to raise capital and create ecosystems that reward people who participate in these ecosystems. So I'm a huge fan of altcoins. And of course, most of my focus during the day is spent 100% on Trustswap. But then throughout the day as well, I also help on a couple advisory projects. And also looking around in the market and like working with the Launchpad projects, chatting with other investor groups. So I wouldn't say I'm dialed in, but I certainly have my eyes open and kind of ear to the ground in the emerging altcoin space. I'm not one of those guys who's kind of like searching the top 50 on CoinMarketCap. I'm
You're
more
not
so
the
like,
biggest dumpster diver. I know so many dumpster divers out there that just like search these low caps, and I'm like, low caps with potential, right? So I feel like there's multiple strategies to it. I mean, obviously we both hold altcoins. I feel like this year kind of reinforced my idea that there's certain ways to look at it, right? I feel like it reinforced the idea that I definitely don't want to be a maximalist. Let's get that out of the table first, because like maximalism in any coin, it doesn't make sense. You're gonna lock yourself into options, right? And I feel like I'm exploring now, so I'm actually gonna like I've always said I should do this, but I'm gonna make a big list of like altcoins I'm in. I feel like sometimes I can't keep track of altcoins because like I have like altcoins on say like Binance and Exchange. Then I have like a bunch of different wallets open. Like for me, like I'm trying to be a private person, right? So like I have a bunch of ETH addresses, and I've told you guys this too, where like I traded a bunch of ETH addresses, and it worked really out good for me because all of them had uni free airdrops, right? So that was like a big boost. That was a super big boost. I was so happy, like, because if you guys knew, Uniswap gave the uni tokens to anyone who used it, and because I have multiple accounts, right, then that means I got it multiple times, which is great for me. But the biggest problem with that is I almost don't know what I hold nowadays, which is a big problem. So that's kind of my aim for this week and next week, is to be on top of that. Be on top of that.
Consolidate it together. Yeah. I know. In 2018, when everything kind of started come crashing down, I did the big consolidation move. But now as things are starting to blossom, let's say in a very big way in the altcoin space, I'm definitely in my own personal portfolio really starting to branch out again as things are really emerging in a big way. So it's definitely an exciting time to be in crypto, no question. And if anyone has, it spends any time, whether it's, watching your channel, another, like I'll shill out Elio Trades. He does a phenomenal job of kind of highlighting really good emerging projects. And I think this is a really great time for people who are looking to get deeper into crypto to start learning about exactly what is happening in the industry and seeing what projects are emerging and comparing them. And it's just really exciting. I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think like I have been personally, like I've been, like I told the channel before, where I moved more into Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So everyone kind of foresaw this Bitcoin move, right? So sold altcoins, some altcoins, like de-risked there, my favorite word, de-risked. Then moved into Bitcoin, and so right now, after this Bitcoin move, obviously I feel like altcoins are going to shine again. So this is my week to get my altcoin game on point. So if you guys have any other suggestions as well, shoot them down below. I'd love to hear that. I'll be constantly looking at new projects. So I think I'm just gonna have a list of projects that I already have, the big ones, like say you guys know probably like Binance coin. Binance was one of the top, because I thought they had to make a play here, right? Then I had like Engine, I had Use Trust, I have Swissborg, I had like a bunch. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Trustswap, Trustswap is great. Not patting ourselves in the back here, okay? We're super humble. Right. Monolith style humble, right? But I'm making a list of the old ones and the new ones. So if you guys have any suggestions, shoot them down below as well. Sometimes, yeah. So this is the participation part. Cool. So I think we're going to start wrapping up the session here. I think it's been a great talk. I also really urgently need to go to the bathroom too. So I think that's a good time to. So very, very, very intimate too. Very intimate discussion too. So
yeah. Well, hey man, if you want to get even more intimate, that plant pot, you could water your plants ahead of time. I won't go there.
That's too much. Fertilize and water, right? Fertilize and water. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I think that's there. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We have another episode coming together. Check out what's happening with Trustswap Launchpad. That's less than like 12 hours now. So Launchpad's happening. Check out if you guys are into Facebook, there's two really amazing channels that Jeff moderates and owns, and he's crazy. He's the best community builder on there. So check out is it Crypto Coin Trader? Was it crypto? Yeah. Okay, you got to say the names properly, because
one is Crypto Coin Trader and the other is Cryptocurrency Investing. The one that I've been really kind of creating the community for since day one is Cryptocurrency Investing. It has around 165 people. I would just suggest join that one. I just got into Crypto Coin Trader recently. Somebody handed me the keys to it. So the culture in there is still kind of in process. I think looking at the comments in your channel, it's hard to moderate a YouTube channel. People are like, oh, this is a scam. That is a scam. This is a scam. People just don't know what they're talking about and just call anything a scam they don't understand. And so there's a lot of that still in Crypto Coin Trader, but Cryptocurrency Investing, it's like nobody's making just these blanket statements of like, oh, this is a scam. It's like we actually have educated discussions about what are the flaws in the projects, what needs to be changed, what are the vulnerabilities. And I think that is where The next
Yes,
step of
correct.
maturity we need to go
Correct.
is we need to stop using the word scam and start objectively saying what is the problem.
Yes, correct. And like because before it's like, you know, the world's black and white, scam, not scam. But now
Yeah.
you gotta, the world is actually a scale gray, right? So I think,
Yes.
yeah, like a lot more objective is good. So I think, yeah, check that out, guys. Yeah, pretty much that's it. Thank you guys for coming in. Check out all the stuff and check out those stuck cards, because stuck cards are amazing. So yeah, that card, that's cool. Being super humble here, you know, it's the monolith of a card, and that's an understatement. So
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming. I'm gonna do the outro right now. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Actually, there's another stream tomorrow, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Too fast. I'd like to take the time now to tell you a little bit about everything that's happening in the box mining ecosystem. First and foremost, if you guys like listening to all that's happening in crypto on the go, then I would highly recommend you checking out the Box Mining Bitcoin Out of the Box podcast. And the reason why it's called Bitcoin Out of the Box is because we have long interview segments very much exploring the detail of the newest and latest of what's going on in this whole cryptocurrency space. Whole idea of it is to bridge that gap between knowledge privileged institutional investors and the rest of us here in this space. Now, with the podcast, it's on everything. So it's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Google Podcasts, it's on Spotify. Just search it anywhere, Bitcoin Out of the Box. So just add that onto a playlist and let's just follow the new episodes when it's released. Next up, we also have the Box Mining newsletter. So this happens roughly bi-weekly. We give you an update of the latest that's going on in a very summarized, condensed format. So this is perfect for anyone that wants an overview of the market. Say, for example, what's happening with OKX, the biggest event, or maybe the little things like what's happening with different coins and overall the trend. So what I use the newsletter for personally myself is to understand what kind of phase we're in crypto, to kind of get in tune. So if you don't read crypto every day, the newsletter is perfect for you. Last but not least, in the link down below, if you're a Telegram user, we have the Box Mining announcements channel. So this is to announce you basically what's the latest videos coming up, but also we have a daily update, a community-driven daily update to provide you an idea of the latest updates on the day. And a lot of people have been using that to get informed of the crazy amounts of trends that we see. And I have to give a big thank you for Claudio, our community member, for doing this. It's just been phenomenal. Definitely want to give you a shout out there, Claudio, as well for that. And taking us to the end of the live stream, so make sure, number one, you click like and subscribe on this video because it really does help this channel. And then, of course, check out the podcast. It's one of the best ways to know a little bit more, to extend that knowledge, especially in your spare time. And then, of course, check out the newsletter. If you're, if you want those updates and summaries and trends, newsletter is the place for you. And with that, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you have a good one. See you in the next video.